Yeah. The reason why this is at the bottom is because it was a last minute replacement for a story that was supposed to be written by Stephen Fry. And you can tell it's a last minute replacement. Because it's not, no, I just don't see why a scribble monster. No, this is more ones for the little kids, like, you find it creepy as a little kid, but as you get older, it just loses the scare factor. Like, the main villain is essentially a drawing of her dad. As I said, scary when you're a little kid, but not now. Okay, so New Earth at number 13. One main problem with this episode is this is supposed to be the first full episode David Tennant has, and usually when this happens, you're supposed to introduce the Doctor more than you could, because in Christmas Invasion all we got is a 5 minute long ramble and then sword fight. But this time, yeah, we got to know the Doctor, but the fact that he kept getting possessed by Cassandra just slowed it down. And I mean, we can't really get to know the Doctor if he's doing whatever the heck he was doing when he first got taken over. I mean, what the hell was that? But the rest of it is okay. And I mean, Cassandra, yeah, okay, we needed a familiar villain, and well, you could say that she was an easy one to use. And the cat people, great production design, but the people, the ill people, just felt kind of like a subplot that they shoved in just to add a bit more extra tension. I felt like it could have been tied in a bit more. Right, so Idiot's Lantern. It's an okay episode, but well, let's get to the good stuff. I enjoyed how they incorporated the time period and the whole Queen's coronation into it. Very good. But there are two major problems. One, that dad. He was just really annoying. Like, he couldn't just do anything, but it was nice to see him get kicked out of the house. Shame we couldn't see more of it. And one, the Wire. Now, I know Doctor Who do pantomime villains a lot, but she was just the most pantomime villain you could ever have. She might as well have gone, "It's behind you," or something like that. She was so over the top. It was hard to concentrate when you just have this woman going, "Feed me." Really distracting. I know what you're thinking. You're putting this at number 11. Yeah, I am. Because I do like this episode, and I'm one of the few people who I know of, which is 2 at the moment, that like this episode. And if you ignore the whole monster designed by a primary school kid and Peter Kay playing him, it is a clever episode. We have the never meeting your heroes, and it's one of the few times where Doctor Who has actually been brave enough to let the main hero lose everything. And unlike Stephen Moffat did in Hell Bent, they kept it that way. And I know, Ursula got brought back as a paving slab. But it's a nice end to an episode, and bearing in mind this is before Doctor Who went all dark. So it's a good episode, and I like it. So, there. Okay, this, I have to admit, is what my favourite episodes where the companion meets the Doctor, purely because Donna and the 10th Doctor, Donna and the Doctor is the best 10th Doctor companion relationships there was, in my opinion. Donna was the best 10th Doctor companion. And this introduction, they kind of decided to go like the Husbands of River Song. They went comedy any chance they could get. And this was hilarious. It was a great idea bringing a comedian on for this. Catherine Tate, brilliant job. And even if Donna did end up being a one-off companion, this would have been a brilliant episode. She is one of the reasons this episode is so enjoyable. We have the Rachnos. She's an okay one-off villain, and Lance, who's basically the classic I'm doing this, I want to see the universe, oh dear I've been tricked, or oh dear I'm going to die. In this case, both. And yeah, David Tennant, he does well, and that first scene when Donna's just in the TARDIS and asking loads of questions. Amazing. Tooth and Claw. What can I say about this? This episode is really the first episode where we get introduced to the 10th Doctor since last episode. It did spend some of the time being Cassandra. But this episode is really enjoyable, and the fact that we get Queen Victoria, and it shows Rose's 21st century modernness, that she actually bets the Doctor that she can get Queen Victoria to say we are not amused. And then a werewolf then we get werewolves. And setting up Torchwood. I mean, without this episode, we wouldn't have the Torchwood spin-off. So, thank you, Tooth and Claw. You've created a good TV show. And good Big Finish CDs. So, this episode, hilarious, great monster, and reason we had Torchwood. I salute you. Rise of the Cybermen. The first part of the first two-part of Series 2, and a great introduction to Cybermen, I have to admit, but they did spend quite a lot of time on the she's not your mother, this isn't your world, forget about it. And that did kind of drag on a bit, especially that's one of the Doctor's main role of this episode, is telling Rose and Mickey it's not your world, she is not your mother, etc, etc. But Noel Clarke, I have to give him credit for playing two people in this episode. And Billie Piper, Rose wasn't as clingy or as moany as she is in this episode, and is thankful for that. And the cliffhanger, yeah, it's actually pretty good, because I think this is the first time the Doctor was surrounded with no chance of escape, and he looked like he was going to die, which is brave considering some people don't usually expect that, and they probably call that he's not going to die considering this is very early on in the series, but it's always nice when they try it, and it's a good and great way they brought back Cybermen. But they did look a bit too robotic for me, but I can look over that. So, the Satan Pit. This is a good second part, but the reason why it's at number 7 is because, well, it's mainly because of Toby. There are many points where he just goes back and forth between evil, and I know that's the point, but it kind of feels rushed the way they just get rid of him. It's like they have to get rid of him, so they just shove it out the window. And that's only a nitpick, really. I just really wanted him to be, when Felt like he could have been possessed for the whole episode, like the leader of the Ood. But that wasn't the case, which is just something I kind of find annoying. This is what I call a first parter. Now, most space under siege stories in Doctor Who are enjoyable, but this one as a first attempt is pretty good. Now, I feel like it's a strong one out of the two, and yeah, the side cast are good, the setting's really good, like as everybody knows, planet near a black hole, how is that possible? And the Doctor and Rose getting stranded there, that was a pretty nice thought. And the Ood, considering these are going to be bad guys, they introduced them in a way like to say that they're innocent and all, and the mystery when they kept saying random stuff like, you're going to go to hell and all that. That was really interesting, and the cliffhanger. Wow. But the one on the DVD, I don't know if you noticed, but they kind of toned it down. They got rid of some special effects and music, but the original, that was amazing. This is a pretty good Cyberman story, and this, I prefer this over to Rise of the Cybermen, but I do have a problem with this. Mostly it's Jake. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a great character, the actor who plays him, great. It's just the way that he has a problem with Mickey, and I know that it's not Ricky, but he just gets it. The way he hates him most of the episode is really annoying, and he doesn't even... I'd prefer it if he gives him a second shot, like gives him a chance, but he hates that he wants him to do that. But it is a good conclusion, good ending. So, the first part of the finale, once again. Right, so this is lower than Doomsday, partly because, well, did go a bit slow for my liking, and then it kind of, yeah, it had to introduce torture, then it just really slowed down, then we had to focus on Rose for a bit, and then it just came all out of nowhere. But this episode is an enjoyable episode, and this is the last time the Cybermen felt threatening in Series 2. I'll tell you why next time. So this, I consider to be a Dalek episode because, well, I know Daleks are probably more powerful than Cybermen at this point, but Cybermen didn't even take down one Dalek. I could understand when there was just the 4 of them, but when they all came out of the Genesis arc, when they could have at least taken out a few, because there were like millions then, so it wouldn't matter if they took out a few. I think half the army got wiped out by the Daleks. But anyway, apart from that, it's a great episode. Rose's exit was done very well. The fact that she could have been thrown into the void, but Pete saved her so she could live the life she kind of always wanted with her full family. But this does bring to light the biggest problem I have with Series 2. That, I'm not sure, but I kind of was okay with the whole I love you thing at first, but the more I think about it, the Doctor shouldn't... I know she falls in love with him, but you could tell the Doctor was about to say it back. And after the thing he said in school reunion about he can't love her and all that, spending all his life with her, I just think that was such a big contradiction, and no, the Doctor shouldn't be falling in love with a human, that's just wrong. Now this episode, this is a good one. It reintroduced Sarah Jane Smith, and well, this is the reason why it's at number 2, well, so high up. She is so good in this episode, and they brought back K9 as well, and you can tell the relationship between the Doctor, Sarah Jane, and K9, it hasn't changed, and that is great. The way they handled, well, Sarah Jane finding out the Doctor again was amazing, and the only reason why this is at number 2, it was going to be at number 1, but I know that could understand that there would be some jealousy, like Rose thinking that she'd be the first, but the way she spent half the episode making Sarah Jane feel absolutely useless, like, oh, he's never mentioned you. Why did she have to do that? She could have just kept it all inside, we can tell by looks. And that's just the reason why it's at number 2 and not number 1. The Girl in the Fireplace. This is number 1. I mean, this is a great example of one-off companions. Madame de Pompadour, great character, really likeable, and the setting, brilliant, and the Drunk Doctor, need I say more? And the Clockwork Men, great villains. I mean, by the sounds of it, you'd think they'd just be the villains in a regeneration story, that you just got to point to Sonic and they'd be stopped, but no. They were really good villains. And Sophia Miles, great. I really did hope that Madame de Pompadour would come back, like the Doctor would just travel back to when she was alive, but maybe in a 10th Doctor Big Finish, who knows. And Rose and Mickey does a good job. This is his first time in the TARDIS. And Rose, considering what she was like in the previous episode with Sarah Jane, I'm not surprised she was going up to Madame de Pompadour going, oh, I was here first, go away. No. But anyway, this is my number 1. Love this episode, favourite episode of series 2. And next time we have series 3. So, see you then.